So marriage is a serious commitment. Whether you're talking about monogamous or polygynous, especially polygynous, because people think, oh, you just marry that for your desires and blah, blah, blah. Really? That's kind of what, yeah, there's some desires involved that you want to be attracted to somebody, you want to have children, expand family, of course. But don't denigrate it. That doesn't make any sense. What kind of moral values do you have? Stone Lake and Peace. It's Coach Nazir, one of the authors of Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored and one of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships. And I'm known as the coach that helps men get their shit together. One of the things I want to share with you today that is essential to being a man of value is those men who have principles and morals. If you heard me train or talk, especially on relationships, you'll hear that I talk about we're pro-morals. So we're not anti-monogamy. I practice polygyny. I'm married to more than one wife. But you hear me talk about we're pro-morals. So when questions get asked, like, you know what keeps somebody from cheating, or what keeps them from cheating in a relationship, what keeps them from cheating people in business, or what keeps them blah, blah, blah. If you have a strong moral foundation, you're pretty good. Because that moral foundation is really your compass. Now the challenge is, who determines what are good morals and what aren't good morals? So then we get into timeless principles. And I'm not going to share with you, of course, I'm Muslim, I practice Islam. So as my source and fundamentals comes from Islam, from the belief that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah. And that Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, is his final prophet and messenger. Now, I wasn't always on that. I mean, I was born and raised in Christian school and everything else. Right? So I had a different set of morals and principles. And very few of my morals and principles from what I was taught in school really affected us in real life. So it didn't matter. Everybody I smoked with, used to kick it with, used to hustle with, we was all Christians per se, right? Or at least that's what we professed. But the reality is, just like Malcolm, with changing our lives and really finding Islam, there's a whole different set of beliefs. Now, again, I'm not going to bog you down, I'm just letting you know where I'm coming from. But no matter where you are in your journey in life right now, I want to say that there are principles, there are morals like lying is bad, right? Lying in general, nobody respects a liar, no matter what society it's in, whether it's 10,000, 50,000 years ago, it's 5,000, or yesterday or today. Somebody that lies breaks the trust of the individuals and the families and societies, right? So one of the reasons we don't like politicians, many, ticians, right? Because many of them are just known to lie, say whatever they need to say to get in office. And I'm not jumping on them, it's not a political video. But the point is, principles like, you know what, honesty is valued. Even if it's difficult for you to say or difficult for the other person to hear. Right? Something that's valued. We can agree on that. Because that leads to trust. That leads to bonds. That leads to building. That can also lead to breaking off. You'll break off a relationship because the trust is broken because somebody's honest about something. But at least the respect is there because of the honesty. So morals and principles. Let me give you more of an example of today. I remember watching an interview between a famous comedian, Black American comedian, Steve Harvey, and he was talking with another comedian, Monique, and she was talking about her situation with Netflix and all this kind of stuff. I don't bore you with the details, but I will tell you that she was talking about standing up on principle. All right, that she wasn't paid what she was worth and everything, and she was making her argument. And he basically told her, listen, them principles and all that stuff go out the window when you got to feed your family. You just got to do what you got to do, period. All right, really interesting take. And many people have said, you know what, Steve Harvey just like, look, you got to do what you got to do. And that's whack, that's weak. And I agree with that position, by the way. And, you know, there's no right or wrong in the situation. It just points to a person's integrity, if you will. So when you think about it, and we look at different situations, whether it's the Me Too movement, whether we're looking at a boss-employee relationship, or we're looking at people in precarious positions that do things for money or do things for fear of losing money. Bosses taking advantage of employees, not paying them, or requesting sexual favors, right? Or you'll lose your job. These types of things, right? These aren't respected. These aren't timeless over time, these aren't respected. This is not something that has good morals. The challenge is when we decide to try to separate the morals from the individual and the person. So we'll say, oh, Bill Clinton, with all these women and all these types of things that you are doing, but that doesn't affect his job performance. Like, really? Are you going to say that about your husband? You say it about your father? Say it about your son? Oh, so he can go drink or he can go rape and everything else, but that's not going to affect him on the basketball court, what we need to do for the team. Haven't we seen that too? All right. Was it Northwestern or forget the college, Northeastern, out on the East Coast, where the coach was sitting here doing all kinds of stuff to players for years. Winning coaching, they cover the stuff up. So how do we deal with that? Or in our community, more specifically, you got the R. Kelly situation. All the way back with Ali. And then you have this whole documentary stuff that comes out on TV, and I'm just talking about people from my community in particular. Or you have situations like Brother Polite. All right? Michael York being his name, but he's known as Brother Polite. The whole York family is on a whole other thing, but now you are sitting there accused of rape, and they got the DNA evidence and everything else. Now, I don't know when you watch this video, you might have been convicted by now or not, I don't know. But all I know is, are you going to defend somebody because that's your friend, because that's your family, or are you going to stand on the morals and principles that are actually what's right? The challenge is, when you stand on something that's right, you're the minority, and you're going to be the minority. We see this in the stories of the prophets for anybody who follows any scriptures. There's an old saying that a prophet is never accepted in his own hometown by his own people. So the people who always talk the truth, they've been a minority. So if I'm going to talk today about the hot topic of transgenders or homosexuality and all this type of stuff, and I'm sharing that, listen, I don't agree with that lifestyle. And you come at me with heat? Come on, really? Seriously? Now I can't have my opinion on something? I can debate it. My debate goes like this. If everybody does it, practices it, human beings are dead. We're extinct. Therefore, my opinion in it is that it's bad because we don't want human beings to be extinct. Done deal. We shouldn't legislate behaviors. But again, that's off on a more political discussion. Or does that come from morals? The other problem is we don't like to play ourselves. We're not perfect. Not at all. And I'm not sitting here in front of you acting like I'm perfect. I've lied, done all kinds of, I'm just like you. The difference is I had to be transparent about me as a man. What I need to strengthen and get better on. The shift I had to make in my life. So when I look at the greatest of all time, or not the greatest of all time maybe, but the greatest living comedian, and yeah, I may be biased a little bit because he's Muslim, but he does not talking about like Islamic comedy or anything that he does, right? But he comes in and he said, you know what? They wanted to put me in a dress. He's talking to Oprah Winfrey. They want to put me in a dress. They already had a whole nother script and everything else. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going for that. I didn't get into this for that. And he talked about a conversation he had with his father. And his father told him, you know what? When the price gets too high, meaning to compromise your integrity, you'll know what to do. So he left the game on Comedy Central. All right? Left the game. Now, mind you, he was supposed to get way more than $50 million. He left it, didn't compromise his value. He was called crazy and all kind of stuff with South Africa. But now I'm sure you understand I'm talking about Dave Chappelle, right? He came back even stronger as a man without compromising his integrity. So you have the Steve Harveys of the world, think like a man, act like one, think like a man, fame, and his personal lifestyle that go along with this that it really don't match up. That as an individual versus a Dave Chappelle, where it looked like he lost for a number of years, but now he came back on top. Far surpassed this person over here, but more importantly has his integrity intact. That's what your moral foundation does for you. It might not be the easiest thing. It won't be the easiest thing. When I'm talking about relationships, I'm not talking about dating and sampling all over. I'm talking about marriage. Because sex is easy. Sex is easy. It don't take much for that. People are the majority of people getting married before participating in sex in the West, especially. Highly unlikely. So marriage is a serious commitment. Whether you're talking about monogamous or polygynous, especially polygynous, because people think, oh, you just marry that for your desires and blah, blah, blah. Really? That's kind of what, there's some desires involved that you want to be attracted to somebody, you want to have children, expand family, of course. But don't denigrate it. That doesn't make any sense. What kind of moral values do you have? And all this is scriptural regardless. So your morals and your principles will make the difference in you as an individual. Not how much dough you get, how much loot you get, all these types of things mean nothing. When you get ready to go on whether or not you have family around you, loved ones around you, and leaving a legacy, or you sold out. Think about that for a minute. So your morals and principles make you, not just you as the man, as the father, as the leader, but as a human, as a man, as a woman, as a slave of the one who created you. Those morals and principles, you can't lose. But you got to churn them. You got to dig deep into them. You have to question your belief systems. So how can you draw out your top 5 principles? Your core values is what we're talking about here with your morals. How are you gauging and calibrating your compass? That's a challenge I'm going to give to you. I'm not going to give you any instruction on that. You want some instruction? Look at the description. We can give you some things there. But ask yourself the hard questions and make sure you do not compromise your integrity by compromising your morals, which should be something that's permanent. Don't compromise that for anything that is temporary. You, if nobody else, will understand the pain that comes with that. And remember, pain is voluntary. You're going to always suffer pain. The difference is you have 2 main types. You got the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The difference is the pain of discipline weighs ounces. And I don't know why, ounces it does have a measurement to it, but the pain of discipline weighs ounces. Whereas the pain of regret weighs tons. So live upon good morals. Garner that self-respect, because that makes a difference in winning and losing. With that, I'm out. Help people get their shit together. Remember, a wish changes nothing, but a decision changes everything. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
We are also the authors of the new ebook, The Polygamy Roadmap. 2 different roadmaps, one specifically for men and the other
for women.
Naturally. So no matter where somebody is in their journey, whether they're considering it and what's required, especially men I'm talking to, I share the 5 requisites on really what it takes to build a healthy, successful polygynous family unit. So with that being said, make sure if you're a man and if you're serious, not just curious, you take action and get it today.
And in the women's polygamy roadmap, we talk about the different feelings that women might go through with emotions of fear, challenge, betrayal, jealousy.
Yes, and we give you some good insight as well as tips, anecdotes, as well as some of our stories of struggle in the polygamy roadmap too for women. And you will find out really how to have a type of confidence in yourself after reading this. I'm truly, truly in the mindset that you would anyway.
Indeed. So do what you got to do. And that means go to polygamyroadmap.com, grab your copy. We look forward to you benefiting from it and joining us in our private community. With that being said, assalamu alaikum.
Peace.